Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video we're going to be discussing the question of could Season 16 of Ninjago work without the character of Nia? Now obviously you guys know my stance on this. I've already mentioned this in a couple of other videos before, most recently my Vengestone arc predictions video for the finale. I went ahead and discussed in that video a potential timeline in which Nia would not be in Season 16 and how that would affect the story. In today's video we're going to be diving in a little bit deeper on that particular subject, and I'm going to be discussing both arguments on either side. Yes, Season 16 would work without Nia, and no, Season 16 would not work without Nia. So for a quick recap, obviously the character of Nia is in a pretty weird spot right now. If you guys have seen Ninjago Season 15, you would know that at the end of Seabound, Nia decided to become one with the ocean. In a way, she unlocked her true potential again in the form of her NRG Nia form, or whatever you want to call that, and she went ahead and dived into the ocean, presumably never to be seen for a very long time. Obviously, Nia had become one with her element, and she became one with the ocean, heard it calling to her, and decided to leave the ninja team for the time being, of course. A lot of Ninjago fans were kind of, I guess, mixed on this. I've seen a lot of mixed reception regarding Nia's leave of absence. Some people think that Nia will probably never come back into the story, while other people, including myself, think that Nia's return is very likely. In fact, it's almost guaranteed. Whether or not that'll be in Season 16, though, is up for debate. In today's video, like I said, we're going to be going through both sides of the argument. I will be giving some reasons as to why Season 16 would indeed work without Nia, and then we'll dive into why Season 16 possibly could not work without Nia's involvement. So in terms of Season 16 working without Nia, for a couple of reasons, I do feel like this is genuinely possible. If Nia is not in Season 16, I feel like the season would still indeed work. For one, you could focus on the effects of Season 15 and kind of let it simmer for a little bit. I don't feel like we should dive right into Nia's return because Nia's sacrifice and her departure was a really big part of her character and a really impactful plot point to the overall Ninjago story. I feel like we should actually feel the effects of that departure before we get back into talking about her return. I want Nia's loss to actually mean something. This was a big criticism that I had towards a sacrifice such as Zane's in Season 3. We pretty much knew that he was coming back almost immediately, and in the very next season he came back as a main member of the ninja team. This time I would like the story to actually accept this loss a little bit more and actually showcase its effects. Have Season 16 focus on the effects of Nia's departure and not her return. The return can come later, but I really want the effects of Nia's departure to be felt by a few specific members of the ninja team, particularly characters like Jay and Kai. Kai, who desperately needs some type of development, would greatly benefit from this. I feel like Kai's character could very well be analyzed in such a way where we can focus on his loss and his own failure as a brother to Nia. Remember, Kai was always super protective over Nia, and obviously because of Nia's departure, I feel like Kai could very well be explored in the sense that he wasn't able to protect his sister. Something that he basically pledged to do long before the series actually got going, he could no longer do because of Nia's sacrifice. I want the story to actually focus on that and give us some type of, I guess, endgame for Kai's character, have him feel the effects of Nia's departure, and have him eventually learn to accept it, and maybe use that to his advantage during Season 16. On the opposite side, you also have Jay, who will be another character that will definitely be feeling the effects of Nia's loss, and I feel like Jay definitely does not need as much development as somebody like Kai, but we could still explore how he is feeling after Nia's loss. I mentioned how he might end up quitting being a ninja in other videos that I made, and I feel like that's an interesting storyline that we can actually, explore and develop. We can't really do that if Nia comes back immediately following Season 15's ending. I feel like Nia's loss definitely has to simmer for a little bit and settle into the storyline, and characters like Jay and Kai could definitely be the segue into seeing those losses. In terms of another argument regarding Nia's absence in Season 16, it could definitely give way to the ending of the Vengestone arc. Tommy Andreasen, one of the co-creators of Ninjago, has commented how Season 16 can essentially be described as a conclusion of sorts. Now, a lot of us Ninjago fans, like I said in previous videos, have kind of been speculating that this will indeed be the end of the Vengestone arc, which was established during Season 13 as being a thing. So obviously, with that being said, if Nia comes back, I'm not sure how that would tie into the Vengestone arc's conclusion. I've done a separate video, like I said, regarding that possibility, so if you want to hear a little bit more of my thoughts regarding that, I'd recommend checking out that video. But ultimately, with the Vengestone arc, I would like it to have its own conclusion kind of separate from Nia's return. I feel like both of those are extremely big events, and having them in one season, trying to, fight for screen time and fight for relevance, might be a little, I guess, complex, maybe a little too, crowded. Season 16 should have its own identity, and if it wants to be the end of the Vengestone arc, then it should be the the ending of the Vengestone arc. It shouldn't be the end of the Vengestone arc and also the return of Nia. That very well could work, as I've said in previous videos, but if it were up to me, I would very much love to see the Vengestone arc get its own conclusion, separate from Nia's return, which in and of itself will be another really big step forward in the Ninjago story. Also, in terms of Nia's absence, you could easily replace her with another character. I've mentioned how Skylar could possibly fill in as a substitute for Nia while we await her return. Skylar's powers will definitely be explored in future Ninjago stories according to Ninjago creators, so Skylar coming back is pretty much a guarantee at this point. I feel like giving her a chance at the spotlight for the first time since Ninjago Hunted is a very good opportunity. We can explore more of her character and explore more of what her powers are capable of, and also maybe build up her relationship with Kai as well, especially considering the point that Kai will probably be in during season 16. Ultimately though, like I said, Nia will probably come back and take her spot from Skylar again, but I want Skylar to have a chance to shine because, again, she's one of my favorite characters and I feel like she desperately needs a spot of development, much like Kai. Have the two of them work together, and if that means that Nia will not be in season 16, I very much think that is a good sacrifice to make. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have the argument that no, season 16 would not work without Nia. For one, Nia is a timeless character. She's very important to the team, and the ending of season 15 is much too great of an arc and much too great of a sacrifice to ignore for an entire season. Obviously, with that being said, I feel like season 16, with or without Nia, will definitely not ignore the ending of season 15. We will most definitely be feeling the effects of that in some way, whether it be through character development or flashbacks. Either way, season 16 will most likely not ignore the events of season 15. That being said though, Nia being a part of that season would definitely benefit the character in a lot of ways and would make Nia fans extremely happy. She's one of the most powerful characters now as well, so maybe show us what her powers can do. Obviously with Nia's new NRG form, she's basically become one with the ocean, one with the elemental power of water. Why not explore that? It might be a little bit more, I guess, relevant to the character to explore those abilities immediately after her transformation. We got a glimpse of what her powers are capable of during the ending of season 15, but I still feel like there's a lot more on the table that we have not seen yet. So why not take season 16 to explore those powers and show us what exactly Nia is capable of? Like I said though, there's always room for that to come later. In terms of other arguments regarding season 16 not working without Nia, I'm not sure what else I can say for this. I honestly feel like season 16 could very well work if Nia is not in it. That's not a jab at the character. I like Nia as a character. I don't think she's a bad character at all. I don't hate her character, but I feel like right now season 16 could very well stand on its own. Nia is not the face of Ninjago. She had a very big arc in season 15 for sure, but the storyline is not dependent on her. There are other characters such as Kai and Jay who need a little bit more development, and Nia being there wouldn't necessarily take away from their development, but Nia is just not necessary at this point. She's kind of off doing her own thing, and while I do expect her to return at some point, I would very much like her to not return immediately following season 15's conclusion. Maybe let her storyline settle for a little bit and then bring her back in season 17 or some other season down the line. If it were up to me, I would personally love to see the 2022 season focus on Kai and maybe even Jay. Then you could tease Nia's return towards the end of that season, maybe conclude the Vengestone arc in the process, and then bring Nia in later for season 17's story. That way we can let her sacrifice sit for a little bit. Maybe we could spend the entirety of season 17 focusing on what her powers can do and who she is as a character right now, and then transform her back if that's even possible. I feel like Nia will definitely return to her human form at some point in time, and whether or not that'll be in season 16 or season 17, I very much am betting that we are going to see her return at some point next year, no matter what season it's actually in. And that's basically my thoughts on Nia's return. I honestly feel like season 16 would very much work without Nia. I don't think she's necessary for the storyline to progress. There are other characters that we can focus on, such as, like I said, Kai, Jay, and Skylar, for example. I think those three should definitely get some type of development, but in terms of Nia as a character, I want to see her come back. I doubt she's going to be gone forever, but like I said, I don't feel like her return is necessary to happen right away. Maybe let her sacrifice settle for a little bit and then bring her back. That would basically be my, I guess, decision if I were to make Ninjago or if I were working on the show. That's the decision that I would make. I have given arguments though for both of these sides, so if you want to go ahead and explore both of those a little bit more in the comments, feel free to do so. Feel free to leave an argument down below regarding whether or not Nia should indeed return in season 16, or maybe she could be absent from the season. Whatever you think, leave all your thoughts down below. But my only request regarding that is to be respectful towards each other. You guys can have a civil discussion down below on this, even if you disagree. Me personally, I think that Nia would very much benefit from not being in season 16, but if you disagree with that, feel free to leave a respectful argument down below, and maybe we can get a discussion going. Thanks a lot for checking out this video, guys. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Just a quick video discussing whether or not Nia is actually likely to return or whether or not she should. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.